what's for dinner. Today is MLK Day, and in North Carolina we get that day off. I know in some parts of the world you don't get that day off. In some parts of the world you don't even celebrate that. But in the United States it's a federal holiday, and because I work for an attorney, there is no court today. So we got to stay home, and it's kind of nice. But yesterday I was over at my mom's house and we were talking about a little bit of everything, and I asked her how to make this dish. This is a dish I grew up with. My Hungarian grandmother made this dish, and I have not had this in probably 20 years. I would say at least 20 years. My mom made it when I was growing up. It's not really my dad's favorite, so we didn't have it a whole lot, but my mom used to make it all the time. And it's called chicken paprikash. And paprikash is just Hungarian for paprika. And it's a delicious chicken dish where the chicken is cooked slow in some chicken broth, and then it's made into a sour creamy cream sauce with the paprika and onions, and it is absolutely wonderful. You serve it with elbow macaroni, and I'm going to show you how to make it today. So let's see what goes into this. To start off, I have 8 chicken thighs on the bone. I've trimmed them well, and I took off a lot of the garbage that, you know, they fold that skin underneath, and it's, you know, you're paying for crap. I trimmed it up really well. And then I've got 3 chicken breasts on the bone that I also trimmed, and I cut them in half. So they're approximately the same size as the chicken thighs, because we want everything to cook very evenly. I have 2 medium onions that I have quartered and sliced, and I have Hungarian paprika. I am going to tell you that this is the only kind of paprika that you should use in this dish. Only Hungarian paprika. And don't use the hot paprika because it doesn't taste the same and you will just be disappointed. You want Hungarian sweet paprika, and this is the kind you want. So I will stop there, but this is the kind you want. Later we're going to use this entire canister of sour cream. This is a 24-ounce container of sour cream, which is about 3 cups of sour cream. And we're also going to use some chicken broth or chicken stock later. And first, I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way. I have in this Ziploc bag, wipe my surface, I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I have a teaspoon of salt and a tablespoon of that Hungarian paprika, as well as a teaspoon of garlic powder. Now, you're going to see 1,000 different ways to make this. This is Hungarian peasant food, and everybody has their own way of doing things. So before I move any further, I'm going to grab a sheet pan out of the cupboard and a piece of parchment paper so that we can be tidy and remain to have, or continue to have, a clean work surface, because I don't like it when I get messy. So I'm just going to grab a couple of sheets of parchment and put them on here. That way I have a place to rest my chicken after I dredge it in the flour. The other thing we're going to do is I'm getting my safflower oil out of the cupboard, and I'm going to put some in the bottom of this pan. Now, chicken fat will render a lot of grease. There's probably 2 tablespoons in the bottom of that pan. That's all you're going to need. And I'm just going to put this on medium heat, and I'm going to let it start to heat up. Now, this is why I put this in the pan, in the bag rather. Just because pat it off real good. You don't want it with too much flour on it. This does make it simple. Now, I'm going to go ahead and finish dredging all these chicken pieces, and then I'm going to come back and show you what happens next. Okay, we're back. I've dredged all of my chicken, and now I'm going to put it in here skin side down. And don't crowd your pan. And I'm going to probably have to do this in batches. So what I'm going to do is, when I get ready to turn this, I'll come right back and show you when I know it's time to turn it. Now, What I will tell you is, you know, the chicken will let you know when it's time to turn it, because it'll release. If it's sticking a little, don't worry, because it'll let you know when it's time to turn it, because it'll release itself from the bottom of that pan. I have this. I had it on 5. I was worried the oil was gonna smoke. I didn't want it to do that. But safflower oil is a high heat oil, and you don't have to worry about it as much as if you were using some other vegetable oil. You know from my previous videos, I will only use safflower oil because it is organic, it is whole, and canola oil is probably not the best thing you could choose. If you want to do your own research on that, you can, but I'm not going to pontificate on that right now. So, I'm just going to let this, we are not cooking the chicken at this point. We are just browning it. We're going to brown this off, and then when we come back, I'll show you when it's time to turn it, so you know how long to cook it for. Okay, we've had this going for between 5 and 7 minutes, and I have been moving it around the pan occasionally, but this is what you want it to look like. You want it to be nice and brown, and because the flour, we dredged it in the flour, it's dry and crispy, and that's how you like. Now, we are going to end up stewing this after we brown it in some chicken stock, but not to worry, this is all going to come together in the end, and the flour is going to help encourage the thickening at the end of the dish. So we're going to turn this over, we're going to cook it for another 5 minutes on the other side, and I'm going to remove it. I'm going to brown off the remaining raw chicken, and then when I'm ready to do the next step, I'll come back. Okay, you can see that we have finished browning off our chicken. Now, mind you, I keep saying this, the chicken is not cooked all the way through. Do not eat it at this point, because it is not good for you. Now, there's a lot of chicken fat in here, so I am going to take some of this off. I'm not going to take all of it off, just some of it. There's probably a 1/4 cup in there. I'm going to take half. Just going to set this aside. Next thing I'm going to do is my onions. These are my 2 medium onions that were quartered and sliced. Give just a good turn in there. Yummy, yeah. Huh?
Let's get that sound more.
The sound of the metal on the metal. Now. Yep. A lot. I'm going to say 2 tablespoons of this paprika. Let these saute and cook down. It'll also bring up some of those bits on the bottom of the pan, which are, commonly called fond in French cooking. But I'm just going to let these cook. And when I'm ready, I'll come back and I'll show you what happens next. Okay, I've sauteed my onions. And then I'm going to add the chicken back into the pan right on top. And this should all fit in here now. Any problem.
Now you can crowd the pan.
Now you can crowd the pan, that's true, what just said. It's just when you're browning it, you don't want to crowd it, otherwise you're going to be in trouble, because your meat's not going to brown, it's going to steam, and you're going to end up with soggy, gross things happening, and nobody wants that. There we go. Now, let me just reach in front of you, babe. I have 6 cups of chicken stock here. And I'm going to put my spoon in here and get it rinsed off. Now, I'm going to put the lid on this. I'm going to lower my heat just a little. Right now it's on medium high. I'm going to lower it to medium. And I'm going to let this simmer for an hour. When I come back, I'll show you how to create the amazing, delicious sauce that makes chicken paprikash. So, off to simmer for 1 hour and I'll be back. Okay, this chicken has simmered for an hour. And you can just add the sour cream and everything right in here. But to make it a little easier, I'm just going to set it aside in the lid. And then we're going to construct our sauce. This smells amazing. I did sample the meat and it tastes wonderful. The chicken is already cooked through all the way now, and it's starting to fall off the bone, which is what you'd like to happen. It's nice and tender. And really, you know, this is as basic a peasant food as you're going to ever get. Eastern European. This is really very authentic Hungarian cooking. I have a fabulous Hungarian cookbook that is on loan from my mother. She keeps asking me for it back. I keep telling her I'm going to give it to her. But it's very old, and it has all of these amazing Hungarian recipes in it. Okay, so I'm going to turn the heat off right now. And then I'm going to have Rick come over here to the counter where I have placed the 24-ounce container of sour cream in here. And I'm going to get, I want a 1/4 cup of flour. I just want to add it right in there. This is going to help the sauce to thicken. But what I want to do is I want to mix it in there with the sour cream. The sour cream is very thick.
I wonder make it too thick.
If the sauce isn't thick enough after we get this in the pan, then we'll add some Wondra to it because the Wondra isn't going to clump up. So I'm going to grab a ladle and I'm going to take some of this sauce out of the pan and I'm going to add it into my sour cream. I'd say 3 ladles full. Slowly whisk it in. This is tempering the sour cream so that when we add this mixture back into the pan, the sour cream does not curdle. Because the worst thing you want to happen to your paprikash is for it to have little curdled lumps of sour cream in there. It'll still taste good, it just won't look very pretty. This is going to bring the temperature down a bit on that sour cream, which was not straight out of the refrigerator, and you never want it straight out of the refrigerator. The same with your chicken. I had that out. I just placed it in a pan inside my oven for a couple of hours, and it's going to be fine. Now, I'm just going to add this in. I'll scrape that out in just a second. Exactly how you want it to look. Remember, your heat is off at this point. Yes, I realize there is a lot of chicken fat on the top of this. We're going to let that settle in just a minute, and we're going to skim it off. Let me grab my spatula, and then I'm going to scrape out. I want a better one. This one is better.
Good thing it wasn't a wood pile.
That was a metal spatula, not a rubber one. Just give this a whisk real quick, get that all incorporated in there. All right, I am now going to grab, I just have a broad spoon here in my sour cream container. And you just drag it along the side of the pan with the edge of your spoon. You'll be able to pick up a lot of this fat. And you're not going to be able to get all of it, so don't try being a superhero. This is a sometimes food. This is not something that you're going to eat every week. I haven't had this dish in 20 years. I sometimes get people making comments on my videos, and I will be very honest with you. They leave very disparaging comments about my appearance, about my weight, and they have recently, one of them went so far as to tell me that my children, they were leaving disparaging comments about my daughter. I will just tell you that I would say an average of 2 to 3 times a week I get people leaving messages that are ugly and nasty, and it does not affect me. Sometimes I leave them up if they're not too nasty. Other times, most times, I have to say, most times I erase the message and I block the viewer, because if you want to behave that way, you don't get to play in my playground. You don't get to make nasty comments, and you don't get to use excessive profanity.
Or come in my house.
And you don't get to be invited into my home. And that's just as simple as it gets. Now you can see the paprika is what gives it its very heavy red tinge. So I'm just going to stick this in my sink for right now. I'm going to turn up my heat. I'm going to turn it back on to medium. I'm going to give this another whisk. I'm going to put my chicken back in here. And I'm going to let it simmer while my pasta cooks. I'm going to cook some elbow macaroni. That's always how we had it when I was a kid. And I'm going to...
Be good with egg noodles too.
It would be good with egg noodles. Sometimes it's served with rice. It just depends. If you're going to a very traditional Hungarian way of eating this, it's going to be cooked with... it's going to be served with dumplings that are very similar to... Spetzel. They're long dumplings, and they're made by putting a very sticky dough through a ricer, or what is similar to a potato ricer, and boiled in simmering water for a few minutes. Then they're taken out, and then they're buttered. And then what they would do is serve the chicken alongside those dumplings and put the sauce on top. And I am just turning these chicken pieces in that sauce to get them covered. I'm just going to put the juices that came off of that chicken right back into the pan. This is a very large pan. Alright, so when my pasta is ready, I will come back and I will fix you the most wonderful plate of chicken paprikash and a taste from my childhood. So I'll be back as soon as this is ready. Everything's done. The paprikash has simmered for a little while the macaroni cooked. The macaroni is all ready. I did dress it with a little butter. Couple of things I wanted to mention to you. After I added the 3 cups of sour cream, I tasted it. It did not taste as I had remembered. I ended up adding an additional cup of sour cream, so make sure you add 4 cups of sour cream. That would be 2 8-ounce containers, or 2 16-ounce containers, pardon me. I also added an additional tablespoon of paprika, and I stirred it in really well. I added a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of black pepper, and I mixed it all up. I let it simmer, and it's perfect now. Okay, so let's fix you a plate, because I know that you're excited to taste this, and I know that I can't wait to eat this. Okay, little elbow macaroni. Chicken thigh. A little
It's kind of
sauce.
like a chicken stroganoff.
Comparatively speaking, it is similar to stroganoff in that it has sour cream in it. But yes, it could be considered that, but stroganoff doesn't have paprika. And I'm going to serve this with some green beans. There you have it. Chicken paprikash with elbow macaroni and green beans. I hope you try this. And when you try it, I hope you like it as much as we do. Well, as much as I do, because nobody else in my family, Rick and the girls, they've never had this before. So I hope you try it, and I hope you love it. And until next time, I'll see ya.